everybody. Yes, it's me. You're not tripping. I am Valencia Danielle, and welcome back to Candid Conversations. I am so excited to be back. I missed you guys. I really did. I did. You ain't miss us. Where you been? I'm for real. I missed you guys so much, and I'm so glad to be back in the studio. It's just such a blessing. So many people have asked, when was Candid Conversations coming back? You know, they have asked, where have you been? They have asked me, am I okay? I am going to answer all of your questions. This may be a two-parter because there's so much to unpack, but I am excited. I don't know why I was a little nervous. Just a minute ago before we started, I'm like, oh, I'm a little nervous. And I think because I haven't done it in so long, it's been 2 years. Really? Like, seriously? I started it initially in 2021, February 2021, but it's been a whole year since I recorded live. So we could start from the beginning. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Okay. All the information will be on the screen. Subscribe and follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook so we can keep in touch. If you would like to book me, because yes, now you could book me, okay? To host, to speak as a panelist, whatever you need me to be, and it's in alignment of what I'm called to do, I got you, okay? So we handled all of that. Now let's get down to the tea. I know what you want to really hear is, where you been? Listen, I've been sinning. That's why am I like this? Okay. But no, for real, I was in a place of disobedience. I was disobedient. I was distracted. I was depressed, and I had so many emotions going on at once. I'm trying to find my words because you know that my goal is to be real, raw, and relatable. I want to be authentic. So everything that I'm feeling, I didn't really rehearse this before I started recording. And that's probably why I'm a little bit nervous, because I really just came in here and just wanted to talk, right? I didn't have any topic. I don't even have the topic yet. So I just really wanted to share from my heart where I am currently. I am currently healing, right? I am currently happy, and I'm becoming whole. So I think those are important things. That's an important place to be, because I was in a place of, I was very, hurt and depressed and mad, disappointed, angry, frustrated with God. I don't understand why we get frustrated with God when He is the healer, when He is the provider, when He is the one to bring us out. Yet that's the first thing we turn to, is like, why you do this, God? Or why did this happen? Right? So let's just back up to, where have I been? It started off with me sitting on the sofa one day, and I'm just going to keep it all the way real. It started with me sitting on the sofa one day, and I was in a place in my life. So one of the things, let me give the backstory of who I am. So this is me reintroducing Valencia Danielle, right? I was a person that I grew up, in a great family, a loving family, loving friends, always had a lot of friends, always had a big loving family, always had people to support me, believe in me. But one thing I was lacking is confidence, lacking confidence in myself and my ability. And so I always found myself comparing myself to other people. And I know a lot of you out there can relate to that, where you just start to compare. And sometimes you're like, where did that stem from? Why do I feel obligated to have to compare to where someone else is, and we have two different journeys? I remember this one girl in elementary school, and she could read really fast, and I would see how fast she read. And you know how you're in class, and when they call you out loud, you don't want to be that person that be like, and the dog, I never wanted to be that person, right? So I used to go home and I used to practice, and the dog went down the street and he turned the corner. Like, I had to be that person. So I would go home and I would study because I seen how fast that girl read and how she would, articulate the words. And I'm like, I want to be like that. It started off at that young age. Nobody said, Valencia, you have to read on this level and you have to do this. But I seen that and said, I have to be that too, or I have to be, sound like this or do this. So at a young age, it started with me comparing myself. That's just one example, but there are so many examples. And so I bring that up to speed to, I was sitting on the sofa one day in my house and the TV was off and so much had happened in the last few months up until that point. So many people were getting married and so many people were having children and getting promotion on their jobs and their podcasts were progressing and they were getting deals and this and that and the other. And don't get it twisted. I was very happy for those people, but I was like, Lord, I'm up here. And this was during the time where I was abstinent. I was abstaining from sex. I felt like I was getting closer to the Lord. I felt like I was doing everything that I was supposed to do. But now that I am rethinking and going back, during that time, all I was doing was just abstaining from sex. I was not really working on my relationship with Christ, right? So I felt like, why is this happening for other people, all of the things that I desire? But when it comes to me, it's not happening. So I literally sat on the sofa one evening and I said, you know what, God, I am so tired of waiting and doing things the right way. And I'm not smoking, I'm not drinking, I'm not doing it. And all these people that are out there doing that seem to be getting blessed. So I'm about to go out here and I'm about to go ham, okay? And I can't believe I said that. Now that I'm thinking about it, I can't believe I said that. I literally said, I'm tired of waiting. And I'm about to do what I do. I'm about to date. I'm about to go out here and I'm about to do that. And I felt like that was going to bring me joy, bring me peace, bring me happiness. But oh my God, that was the start of destruction. I'm not even trying to hold you. It was the start of just going downhill. I literally made up in my mind that day, and literally maybe a few weeks later, I got approached by someone from my past. And one thing led to another, and that became a sexual relationship. Then I got into a relationship and, that became something. And through all of that I went through, all I became was more depressed, more sad. And I strayed further from Christ. Right. And when I told God that day, I'm going to do my own thing, that was the biggest mistake that I ever made, because I didn't know what I was opening myself up to. And a lot of times and I forgot to tell you, I had started smoking again too. And because that was a stronghold on me that I didn't realize that I didn't break covenant with. And it was a part of me. It was a clutch that I would go back and revert to when I would feel depressed or I would feel sad. And a lot of people don't realize that, people are like, no, it's from the earth and this, that, and the other. And, but it is actually more spiritual than you can imagine. But that's a topic for another time, because I'm really not controversial like that. And so I'm not trying to be on YouTube land and people post me and say, she said, I'm not about that life right now. The Lord's still working on me, and I want to get scripture and everything to help you. But I'm telling you my story, okay, and what I had to do for me. So I started smoking again. Literally, I had to smoke and be high to go on these dates or to have these, these times just to deal with it. That shows me that there was a problem right there. I had to be under the influence to entertain someone because my heart wasn't even there. My mind wasn't there. And in me, I knew it wasn't right, but I was trying to fulfill a physical need. But my needs were still not fulfilled. I ain't gonna say it wasn't good. Hallelujah. See, that's what some people don't do. Some people want to say, the sin, sinning felt good, but it wasn't right for me. Okay. And it was pulling me further away from Christ. Right. So it's supposed to feel good and keep you there so that you can, you won't be in alignment. Right. So it was fulfilling a temporary need. But at the end of the day, I was missing so much. Right. I was missing, missing so much of where I needed to be. So I started to, I was dating and doing whatever and started smoking again. And then I got to a place where it's like, bam, like I can't do this no more because I felt the depression coming back. How is it that I felt like doing the things that I once did that brought me joy? I thought, how would it bring back depression? How would it bring it back when I was, felt like I was fulfilling those needs that I told the Lord that I'm about to do me? So that just proved to me right there that I am nothing. I am nothing without God. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Candid Conversations with Valencia Danielle. Do me a favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Valencia Danielle. Also, follow me on Instagram at I am Valencia Danielle and Facebook, Valencia Danielle. I would love to keep in touch with you, okay? So make sure you subscribe and make sure you follow me on social media so we could keep in touch. I'm nothing without his covering. I'm nothing without being in covenant and relationship with him. And during my 3.5 years of abstinence, I was not really truly building a relationship with Christ. Yes, I wasn't having sex. Yes, I wasn't smoking. And yes, I was, going to being consistent with praying and sometimes and stuff. And God will use me occasionally, but I literally was not building a relationship with him. And it wasn't until I got to the place recently, maybe in July, where I made up in my mind and said, you know what, Lord, my way isn't working and I need to try it your way. And I just literally, like, I don't know what it was. It was just, I don't know what it really was. I think in my mind, I started to know that something was missing because the more and more I was with people, it was just like I'm not being fulfilled. So I knew something was missing. And so I already was making up in my mind, you know what, this is not going to work. So I drifted away from those relationships. And I remember even God showing me and telling me what would happen if I continued on doing certain things. And that kind of scared me. That it will be detrimental to me if I continued and did this or did that. That's what the Lord told me. So that's why when I say this is my story, everyone may not have the same revelation or get the revelation the same way that I did. But how it happened to me is I told the Lord I wanted more of him. And I was tired of doing things my way because all I was doing was delaying what he really wanted for me. And I said, Lord, whatever you require of me, I want to do it because I want to be pleasing to you. And I literally was talking, I think before I thought building a relationship with him was actually sitting and going, oh, I worship you, God. Oh, and doing that, not saying that that kind of worship is wrong, but I had to talk to him like I'm talking to you. And once I started to do that and treat it like a real relationship, like if I'm with a man, I'm going to talk to him like this is how I feel, or I love you, or I care about you. So that's how I started to do it with the Lord. I'm like, Lord, listen, I want to be married. I want a child. I want to be successful, but most of all, I want to please you. And I said, my problem is I feel like it's too hard to be totally sold out to you. I feel like it's hard to be saved. I feel like it's hard to keep myself. So I need you to help me to abstain. I need you to show me the way. I'm tired of getting in your way. So I'm stepping back and you lead the way. So I had to fall back. And because I like control, that was challenging for me. But once I fell back, I was able to hear clearly. I would literally tell him, Lord, this is what I need. This is what I need you to do. Like, Lord, I said, I want to have a real relationship. I see people out here that's really waking up and excited to pray. People worshiping and all they can do is talk about you. I said, Lord, I want that type of excitement for you just because of who you are, not even for what you could do for me. And as I began to pray, God would show me what to do. And one of the first things that he told me to do, my God, he told me to throw away the weed. I said, I know you lying. I can't finish it. And anybody watching this that's a real weed smoker, you know you don't throw it away. And I was like, well, maybe I could give it to somebody. So my smokers out there that I used to smoke with, they like, girl, you could have gave it to me. But listen, God wouldn't even allow me to give it to somebody because he's like, if I'm wanting you to be free from it, why would you hand it to somebody else? So I said, oh, so I ain't gonna lie to you, saints. It took me a minute to throw it away. I would walk by it like it's a piece of steak, looking at it like, oh, I know I got to throw you away, but it's not time. Because in my head, I'm like, I still was not free because I still was like, I may need it one day. That's a stronghold. I may need this thing to get me out one day. So I need to just hold on to it. I had like a little, maybe a little bit. I can't even tell you how much, but it was enough to maybe make 2 blunts. And I had 2 edibles left. Oh my goodness. And I said, now I need to at least keep them edibles. Lord, like, how you try to negotiate with the Lord. Why do we do that? If he said, do it, do it. So he told me, he was like, no sex and throw away that weed. I said, now, God, you tripping. You hit me with a double whammy. No sex and no weed. You trying to take me out of here. How am I going to make it? But it's the enemy that makes you feel like you can't survive without these things, which again proves that they're strongholds that you have. So I did it. When I tell you, I took that weed, packed it all up. I'm talking about my grinder, my blunt paper, everything connected to the weed. I put it in a Ziploc bag and I threw it away. Saints, I cried. I was crying. But it was a freedom that I didn't realize that was taking place, because I was obedient. So that's the whole purpose of this conversation with you. This was an example of how obedience freed me. It was the beginning of something beautiful. It hurt. You know how you're growing, you have growing pains because you're being stretched. It's uncomfortable. But once you're there and at your peak, it's like, now I understand, right? I would not be walking in the peace and joy of where I am now if it wasn't for obedience. Okay. So I threw that out, cried like a baby. I cut off, the sex and cut the relationships. And I literally started to build a relationship with Christ that consisted of fasting. And I'm for real. People used to always tell me, fast and pray, fast and pray. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Fasting and praying, like, it got to be more to it. But I am not going to lie to you. Literally fasting and praying, not even because someone else is telling me to do it, but because that's what the Lord led me to do. Cutting out all foods and just doing the liquids, but not fasting to lose weight. But I was fasting because I was killing my flesh and trying to break those covenants that I made with the enemy in the demonic realm. And I was trying to rebuild my relationship with Christ. So in order to do that, I had to fast and I prayed. When I tell you, I used to look forward to going home and just be in worship. Who am I? I think I'm a mother of Zion now. Because I'm like, who am I that I literally am excited to pray? I'm literally watching sermons online. Like, I'm turning off reality television and turning on like Sarah Jakes or Bishop Noel Jones or Tiffany Montgomery or somebody, whatever the Lord led me to at that time. It would be a message for me. I'm talking about, it can be just a podcast about just empowerment or encouragement, but God would lead it to me because I was sensitive to the Spirit because I was always in his presence. So whatever he led me to is what I would do. And in this, in building my relationship, I am hearing him more. I'm seeing clearer than I've ever seen before. And I've been prophesied to so many times as of late of what God is up to. And all that does is to reassure me and remind me of the promises he promised me, that doesn't change. I was delayed for my disobedience, but now that I'm back in alignment, do you know he will, that time that you lost will come back. I'm telling you, it will be quick. I'm telling you, things will happen quickly. And that's what's been happening because I decided to be obedient, because I decided to do what the Lord told me to do. Things have shifted for me in a positive way. And I'm so excited for what's to come. Even with Candid Conversations, I believe that this season will catapult me into a direction and catapult even my executive producer, Carl, in Butler Studios into a direction. Sometimes we don't understand that our obedience is connected to other blessings or other people's blessings. When we walk in that thing, it can open doors for other people, for us, because it's all connected, right? And so when I'm not in position, something else is delaying someone else. But understand that just like, what's his name? Esther's uncle. But remember when he told Esther, he said, if you don't do it, didn't he say that? He will raise up someone else to free his people. So if I didn't step in this place, he was still using someone else to minister through social media. But I had to learn, even I'm currently learning that I am not for everyone. Okay. My testimony, the way I talk, the way I carry myself is not for everyone, but I know I have a calling on my life, and I know that God will use me and to help others to get free from whatever strongholds are holding them back by me sharing my testimony, by me being authentic, by me being relatable. And I believe he honors that, because I'm doing his will. And so my prayer is that as we unfold and as I heal and as I journey through this season, that you will begin to see, that you will see Jesus. Okay. It's not Valencia, but I want you to see the Jesus in me, because he has given me the strength. He has blessed me with the gifts and the ability to do this. And I'm not perfect. But I am walking in purpose, and I want to be obedient, and I do not want to delay any more that the Lord has for me. So I'm excited. I'm excited about this. And I probably skipped all over the place. I'm sorry, but we'll have a part 2 so that when I rewatch this, I can see what I left out, because there's so much that happened through that time. Oh, one more thing. One of the things that also, put me into position to actually commit and honor God was I went to a conference. One of my big sisters, Keisha Purnell, I went to a conference that she had in Charlotte, and that conference changed my life. My aunt Allison, she did a word and talked about prayer and how important prayer was. And then on that Sunday, Keisha spoke, and she was speaking about Hannah. And you know how you hear people in the Bible when you're growing up, you hear the different characters and you know about it, but it hits different when you're in a different place in your life. And so when she was talking about Hannah, and I went back and read it, and how Hannah literally was diligent, prayed, and sought after the Lord for what she desired. You know what I mean? And God heard her prayer, but she was consistent and she kept praying, and she promised the Lord that if you do this for me and give me the child, because she was barren and couldn't have children. So she was mocked and she was talked about and all of these things, and she could not bear children, but the Lord blessed her and heard her cry. And she fulfilled her promise to him and gave her firstborn back to the Lord, or to serve the Lord. And she was blessed with multiple children. You get what I'm saying? So what that showed me in that moment was, I said, Lord, I am loyal to my family. I'm loyal to friends, but I'm not loyal to you. Because every time I say I'm going to stop doing something, I always revert back. Or I just do this. And I said, I want to be like Hannah. I want to be diligent. I want to pray. I want to fast, and I want to do this for your will and for you to be glorified. And literally that changed my mind. And so anytime I feel like I'm see, look, the devil don't want me to say it. Anytime I feel like I'm about to revert back, it's like, I feel like, I remember Hannah and the promise she kept to the Lord. And I said, Lord, I promised you something, and I'm going to stick with it and see it all the way through. And so in this season, the Lord has equipped me, or he has assigned me to push through. He has assigned me to persevere, to be consistent. Um, and that relationship is important, because if I desire a husband and I desire these future things, I have to first know how to have a relationship with Christ. I have to first love myself as well. I have to be confident in myself, and I can't rely on other people to build me up, but I have to say, you know what? I'm worth it. I'm worth the wait. God has graced me for this. You know what I'm saying? So I see things from a different lens now. My eyes are open. Like I said, I'm woke. I'm real woke. I'm up and I'm excited about what's to come. And I'm so glad you guys tuned in. I hope that, you tune in to part 2 so that we can continue this conversation. And I can't wait to unfold this season. I'm looking forward to interviewing some amazing people, and so that they can share their story with you, so that it can empower you to go out and empower someone else. I feel like I left out so much, but it's okay, because we're going to have a part 2. So whatever I left out is okay, because whatever what needed to be said was said in this episode. So I love you guys. And remember, you were destined to soar. So go ahead and be fly. Mwah. I love you.